Hello, welcome. How's it going? I am Chad, and this is a preview of a wonderful series I intend on putting onto YouTube. Um, as you might be aware, there are a lot of different startups that are out there in the US and really around the world, and for being blunt, there's really not the best comprehensive guidance out there always for everybody in every situation. Now, what this particular series will hope to do is to really talk about um, different things, different risks, different concepts within business that any startup can think about and use to help them avoid making mistakes, going out of business before they should, anything like that. And it's my goal to sort of, over the course of time, do a knowledge dump of everything I know, so that we can level up all our businesses, grow each other together, and take it from there. Now, this is a preview. I will put this actual presentation on a different, brand new channel. It will be probably some of the little technical kinks will finally be worked out. I've been learning a lot about how to make a lot of this work in the last few weeks and whatnot. But I hope that you will find this useful. I hope that you will enjoy what we do here. And let's see what happens. So, let me take a second and we can kind of move on to who the heck is this guy talking to you? Well, name's Chad. I have over 21 years of experience in companies big and small, and in primarily the wonderful world of finance and accounting. And one of the fun things that happens when you work in finance and accounting is you touch everything. You know, there's a cybersecurity issue. Guess who ends up having to see the bill or budget for the expense or whatever? Or you run into some long drawn out legal fight over something. You know, who's going to scrutinize those things but our friends in finance and accounting before expenses like that are paid for or budgeted for the next year, or things of that nature, audited, as it were. So I also, on the side, have spent parts of the last several years doing independent consulting with our friends in the early stage entrepreneurship space. This has been so rewarding. A lot of my experience has primarily been in the entertainment space. Like, I worked at Disney for 8 years. I worked at a place called Saban, which is the fine folks that brought you the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And even I worked at a place called Ayuno for about 4 years, who helped to translate a lot of content that you watch, whether in English or other various different languages around the world. A lot of these are different size businesses that I got to work in, but they were all primarily within the entertainment sort of ecosystem. The nice thing about working with startups that have been outside of that is I've been blessed with running into new challenges that a lot of these entrepreneurs run into, running into just the various quirks that might be unique to one industry versus another, one region versus another, one series of clientele versus another. It's, the possibilities theoretically are limitless on how one might do business or go into business. And I'm thankful that through a lot of these experiences that I've had, I have grown a knowledge bank of a lot of good advice that I can now share with a lot of folks that need it. So it's my hope that as we kind of go through these presentations, I can be your guide to talk about some topics that maybe you haven't been familiar with, that you want to explore further on your own, as well as be that resource for you as more of your own unique questions kind of come up. So let's now kind of think about where this series is going and what I hope to accomplish on this. So there's a lot of different topics that I'm going to want to try to touch on, and if I can cheat and look at some of my notes of some of the things I want to touch on pretty soon, there's concepts of making sure you have a cash runway when you first start out and what your burn rate might be, thinking about what therefore your cash buffer should be in good times and in bad, thinking about how to get folks to pay you, what invoicing terms are, different choices and different arrangements that you might have on being paid, whatnot, different legal structures that your company might want to consider. Are you going to be an S corp? Are you going to stay as an independent person, or are you going to be in a partnership? Or are you going to be a corporation? A lot of these different concepts all have different things to be thinking about, and pluses and minuses and considerations that maybe one hasn't really thought a lot about. Getting contracts set up and where you go, talking about resources like Rocket Lawyer and LegalZoom and why you might want to rely on some of those types of topics as your main mechanisms to handle basics like NDAs and whatnot. But where really important contracts come in the early days, you'll really want to make sure you have a reputable legal counsel that will really protect you on those big ticket items, big ticket agreements. And there's an ebb and flow on that, and we'll talk about that in terms of when do you go the do-it-yourself route versus when do you go something more specialized. Hint, it's going to a lot have to do with the level of risk involved. But the fact is that these are all considerations that we're going to want to talk about. We're going to talk about concepts about who you hire. Are they employees? Are they independent contractors? What are the reporting requirements and other factors you want to think about for those, or the definitions of an independent contractor versus a employee and the like. What other stuff did I want to touch on? I'm cheating, but hey, look, whatever. Talking about different tax strategies and considerations, like are you going to be starting out as being on a cash basis, or are you going to be on an accrual basis? Those have big implications, and you get to make that declaration like one time when you first start out before you have to, the next time you have a big event that you might want to talk to somebody about. There's some major considerations to be thinking about. I mean, obviously, if you go public or whatever, obviously you might have to change some of these things, right? And change your legal structure and other things like that, depending on where you start, where you end in the life cycle of your business. But the point is that you are definitely in a situation where there's things to consider. Other wonderful topics I've got in here. Skipping. Budgeting, why you need to do it, how you do it, variable costs versus fixed costs, how those really matter, managing overhead, and the like. Anyways, I could ramble for a bit here. Some of this is really and truly just trying to get my of all things, get the audio levels right, get the level of the quality of the video acceptable, and deal with some of the post-production tools. So this is not intended to be a full-on, representation of what each episode will hopefully be. But I do hope that you can join me on this. And I don't know exactly, if we're going to have the title of the series be, one thing or another. I've got a placeholder for now. We'll see. But the goal is, if you'll come with me, that we can teach a lot of entrepreneurs stuff they never knew they ever needed to consider. And we can all grow together, and we can de-risk your companies, and ultimately help fewer companies fail. We want success around here, you know what I mean? So that's the game plan, and hopefully you can join us on this journey, and hopefully we will see you in the coming weeks as I get more of these episodes lined up, put together, etc., and so forth, and we can take it from there. For now, I've been Chad. I hope you'll join me on this journey when the time comes, and thank you for your support.